adds flavor. It's just like a dish where you have the proper dish and it adds extra flavor and fragrance. So without the dish, if you just add flavor and fragrance and color, what is the use? I don't have to tell you about that, right? Hello, welcome to my channel again. For those of you who are new, my name is Renee Rose Matthew. I'm an author and also a language trainer. Please check the description of the channel to know more about me and the intention of creating this channel. And I hope that you're liking all the content. If you have any suggestions or feedback, you could send me email, but try to comment only on that particular video. When you're watching a video, try to stick to the point instead of asking about platforms or instead of asking about other things that could really distract the purpose of creating a particular video. Now, today I've come with an important topic. It's all about idioms and phrases and vocabulary. I've already created videos on types of learners, also types of teachers. You should scroll down and listen to all the other videos before asking further questions, because I've been repeatedly asking most of the new subscribers to take a look at all the other videos. If you don't have time, you can save or download. There are a lot of options. Please do that, because you cannot conclude by watching just one video, because that is what I do. If I like a creator, if I like the content on a particular YouTube channel, I always take time to listen to most of the videos and get the maximum out of it. Okay, so before I begin today's topic, let me tell you something. It's not very difficult to understand my language and accent without the subtitles. And of course, there is a video created on the significance and disadvantages of using subtitles, especially when you're working as a learner, when you're working on your language as a learner. Okay, so please watch that video. It's not always good to switch on the subtitles and listen to the particular language that you want to be proficient in. Don't do that. Come out of your comfort zone. I'm not speaking in some other language, it's in English, and you cannot definitely read the subtitles and listen, both won't happen at the same time. So you need to focus, you need to listen to this particular video and get the maximum out of it. So today's topic, I came across a lot of people who belong to these categories. So let me elaborate on each one. The first category. Now this category, okay, this type of learners or people, they're fond of vocabulary. They're so fond of vocabulary that they use advanced words in their language while forming sentences, but their base will be wobbly. It will be shaky, in the sense grammar will not be there, basics will not be there. So without knowing the basics of a particular language, do not use words again and again. See, I'm not talking about people who are practicing, who are talking to themselves, or who are trying to work on a language, because of course you need to make mistakes. But when you're talking to a group of people, or if you're posting something on a public platform as YouTube, or when you want people to listen to you, try not to use advanced words with poor base, because I came across a lot of people with poor grammar, poor sentence formation. At the same time, they're using high-level words. So what happens is there could be a group of people who are trying to get something from your video or from your content, and it could be really misleading for them. They could be misled. That is what I'm trying to convey. For example, if you take this particular sentence, I going to the market, and I hope it pleasant experience. So here something is missing in the sentence. Okay, there is vocabulary, and of course there is something that is missing in the sentence. So the wrong tense is used, the sentence formation is not proper. So such kind of things where you use high level words or advanced words to put it in your terms, but the basics, it's not there, it's absolutely missing. So don't do that. And I've been listening to a lot of people, even learners, who are so fond of vocabulary. Vocabulary adds flavor. to your sentences. It adds richness, it gives richness to your language. But I'm not asking you to not work on your vocabulary. You need to work on your vocabulary, but make sure that the base is strong. It's just like constructing a building where the base is strong and then you build on it. The second type, let me go to the next category. Now, this group of learners are so fond of idioms and phrases. See, idioms and phrases, of course, add fragrance and flavor to your language. It's good. But suppose you don't have the basics, suppose you're making a lot of errors with tenses, or if your sentence formation is not proper, you cannot expect, or it's not right for you to use idioms and phrases. Recently, I was communicating with an IELTS trainer, and she told me that people from Asia, especially from India, they're so fond of idioms and phrases, and they use it during the speaking test. But seldom do they know the importance and the meaning of it. They use it here and there. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. They shoot just like bullets and there's no aim and the meaning totally collapse. Okay, so that shouldn't be the point, because it will not fetch you marks, it will only reduce your marks. It's not just in the case of examination. If you're talking to a group of people, or if you're communicating with your friend also, do not use a lot of idioms and phrases in such a way that your grammar is poor and only idioms are there and only phrases are there. It adds flavor. It's just like a dish where you have the proper dish and it adds extra flavor and fragrance. So without the dish, if you just add flavor and fragrance and color, what is the use? I don't have to tell you about that, right? So I've come across a lot of people, even on YouTube, people who concentrate, who focus on vocabulary, but the base is not there. They don't want to work on that. And sometimes they're so fond of idioms and phrases, but the base is not there. And they'll be like, do you know idioms and phrases? I am a fan of that. It's okay to be a fan of idioms and phrases and expressions. You need everything to add color to your language. But that is not the only thing that contribute to communication and to effective use of language. Please get that right, and I hope that this helps you. Now, we cannot change people. We cannot change the attitude and approach of people. What we can do is learn from their mistakes and learn from our own mistakes. I think that is the right attitude, and it definitely brings about a lot of change. Now, having said that, let me bring to your notice a few errors that people make while conversing with each other. You would have also come across these mistakes. And when you speak, of course, we make mistakes. Even the native speakers make mistakes. So you need to understand that there's nothing known as perfect English. I've done a video on that also. So just take a look at some of these sentences. The first one, just only a few days back. Okay, there is a continuation to the sentence, but still, take a closer look. Just only a few days back. We don't say just only. That's not appropriate. We can say only a few days back, which is like okay. Or you can say a few days back only I came across this person, but not just only a few days back. And frequently I come across learners and people using this particular expression or words in the sentence, which doesn't sound appropriate. The next one, that's a pretty long time. Pretty long time is okay. It's been pretty long since we met is also fine. There are other expressions connected with this, but not that's a pretty long time. There's a difference between pretty and pity. Yes. The next one, there are something happened. This happens when you don't focus on your sentences. Specifically, such kind of mistakes. There are something happened. Something happened recently. That is okay. Or those are the different ways in which you can frame sentences, but not there are something happened. Two persons, not two person. And the pronunciation of person, it's not person. Many people pronounce it as person. I would like to take a note of the common mistakes and then bring it to your notice. I always say you shouldn't pronounce English as English. That is like the most widely mispronounced word. And it's not two person, it's two persons is okay. So when you refer to a collective group of people, we say people. Okay, we use persons, two persons, it's okay, but that is archaic usage. Archaic means something that was used earlier. It's no longer in use, it's not appropriately used now, except for some legal writing and things like that. That's what I came to know while referring the recent resources of updated language learning. You can use persons, but two persons, not persons. Another thing is when you refer to a collective group of people, collective group, it's always people, not person. So make sure that you use the right words specifically when it comes to the basics. And the problem is that we have been learning all this as chart, or you can say when it comes to the perfect tenses also, people study it as one is over, one is happening, one is going to happen. They don't understand the context. So why we ask you to try with different contexts? Specifically me, I ask the learners to learn grammar from a context, because that is when you understand better. That is why many people, many teachers, many resources of language, reservoirs of language ask you to read, because when you read, you get the different ways of using a particular tense or a particular portion of grammar. But if you learn it just like that in the form of chart, and if you try arguing, it is not going to work out. So you need to study from the context, and at the same time you need to compare and contrast. And also one more thing is you can also experiment with different ways of using the same tense instead of always abiding by the rigid rules, because rules don't work always with any language. Okay, so I hope that this video helps you, and that you will get the right points and you will use all these strategies. Please listen to the entire video, because if you only listen to one particular video, nothing is going to change. You need to change, and you need to make the effort, take an effort, so that you're groomed better in language learning. And everybody is a learner. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is Shakespeare or Marlowe. Okay, and even Shakespeare himself has told that I'm just a beginner, I'm just a starter in terms of language in his own works and such kind of criticism. So nobody is perfect, and happy learning. Thank you so much for listening to me.